Hello again, Internet. Am I wearing the same thing as before? Yes, I am, because I recorded the introductory video and this video on the exact same day at pretty much the exact same time. Don't judge me. So, like I had said on my introductory video, I wanted to give everybody a real-time progression of weight loss surgery. And so right now we are basically 1 month into post-op. So I just kind of wanted to use this video to kind of give you guys just an insane breakdown of everything that led up to the weight loss surgery, as well as how things have been this first month. So with weight loss surgery, there's so many things that a lot of people don't realize goes into the process of actually getting weight loss surgery done. There's still a huge stigma out there with having weight loss surgery, and a lot of people still see it as taking the quote unquote easy way out. And trust me, it is not taking the easy way out. Whichever one of the weight loss surgeries you plan on having, sleeve, bypass, lap band, which is very rare nowadays, it is definitely a journey. It is a process, and they are all nothing but tools to help you achieve your weight loss goals. So I feel like that is probably the main thing that I would really like to get across with this channel, and letting everybody know, like, it is a tool. It is not a cure. It is something, it is a full-on lifestyle change, and there's a lot that goes into it. So one of the big things that I wanted to talk about is just, there's so much that I wish people would have told me about having weight loss surgery before I got into the process of this whole entire journey. One of the main things is I wish somebody had told me how long the process can take. I pretty much let my primary care provider know that I wanted to start getting referred to having weight loss surgery January of this year, of 2021, and I didn't have the surgery until November of 2021. So I mean, there's this whole process you have to go through. A lot of it, of course, depends on your insurance and programs that you use. With my specific company that I work for, they actually go through a specific program called Carum Health, and you actually contact Carum and you do a little questionnaire, and they kind of forward all of your information off, and then you kind of get let know whether or not you've been approved or not for the program that you choose. For Carum Health, they had 4 different facilities to choose from. So there was a facility in San Diego, a facility in Chicago, a facility in Houston. I don't think it's the one that Dr. Now is at, which is just so depressing. And then there's also a facility in Wilmington, Delaware. And so if I went to San Diego, Houston, or Chicago, like post-op, I'd be wanting to run around and play and go explore cities and everything like that. So I kind of figured Wilmington was the safest bet and it would be the most boring. And oh my God, was I wrong. I'm just letting you guys know that now. Being in Delaware is so close to so many different things, because that's how the East Coast is. Like, every state is like 5 seconds away from each other. So there was actually a lot to do over there, and I actually had a really good time. And it's actually, and like, Wilmington is a great town that's filled with a lot of history. It also just happens to be the president's hometown, which is kind of cool. I was looking for Major Biden, see if, you know, maybe he was running around trying to bite Secret Service agents or anything like that. I didn't see him. It was a shame. And with the program that my job went through, the past couple of years that they had the contract through my company, it worked out really well because they paid for the surgery 100%, and they also paid for travel for me and a companion. And my best friend in all the world went with me because she has also had weight loss surgery. She had it 3 years ago. She had a sleeve done, and like I said in my past video, I had the gastric bypass done. So it was really, really nice to know that I didn't have to worry about any of those. However, I was not informed that pretty much any pre-op procedures and pre-op requests that they make, those are your financial responsibility. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. My program required my bariatric program required an endoscopy to be done as well as a sleep study, and if you tested positive for sleep apnea, then you were required to get a CPAP machine, and you did have to keep that CPAP machine on at least 4 hours a night, I believe 6 days a week. And if you were not compliant with that, then they would not do the surgery. So that was probably the only issue that I ran into, because I ran into some issues with the CPAP. Like, I would wear the CPAP and I was only getting like 2, maybe 3 hours of sleep a night, and then I would just snap awake and I just could not go back to sleep after that. So I did let them know that I was having that issue, and when I was diagnosed with sleep apnea, they said that it was pretty much a mild case that I had, so I didn't really need to be on the CPAP to be approved for surgery. And I had explained that to my bariatric program, and unfortunately they just said, hey, if you're diagnosed, then you have to use it. So that was, I think, the only really negative experience that I ever had with my bariatric program. Other than that, everything was amazing. The team is fantastic that I get to work with, and the nurses that I get to talk to, the dietitians, the psychologist, everyone. And what they do is if you get approved for getting on the bariatric program, they actually fly. So the Carum Health actually flies you over to the facility for a couple days. And the way that my facility works, it is Christiana Care over in Wilmington, Delaware. They are amazing. They just basically, like, they only do their consultations on Thursdays, and you go in for your consultation, like, just the whole entire day, you're just there with them. So you start off in the morning with blood work and an EKG. Then you then you meet with the dietitian, and she gives you your binder that is your just lifeline. It has all of the information you think you could possibly need. It walks you through what you're going to do pre-op. It walks you through what you're going to do post-op. It gives you all kinds of suggestions for what your diet is going to look like, and when you can start exercising, and when you can start doing everything. I literally bust out this binder on a daily basis, multiple times a day. I'm looking at this binder, and it has really been a lifesaver. So you meet with her, they do your weight at your consultation, and the rule for my bariatric program, and I'm gonna say this to everyone right now, every bariatric program is different. So this is just my own personal experience. A lot of people have similar experiences, but trust me, no two programs are the same. So you could have different rules and regs with whatever program you end up deciding to do. If bariatric surgery, weight loss surgery, whatever you want to call it, is a route that you want to take. So for me, the rule was, once they take your weight at the consultation, you cannot gain anything. Otherwise, they will not perform the surgery. You can maintain, you can stay at that same weight, you can lose, but you cannot gain. So that was pretty much the main rule that they had. Most programs say for quite a while post-op you can't have any caffeine, and soda is something most people just have to give up for good. I was really worried about soda and caffeine because I never really had much of a sweet tooth, but I definitely have a sweet palate, I guess you could say, because I don't want to say sweet tongue. That sounds inappropriate on the internet. But I love sweet drinks. Like sweet drinks, soda, juice, all of those are just go-tos for me when it comes to beverages. So I was really worried about having to give those up. I thought it was going to be very difficult. So I went ahead and I gave up the soda prior to going to my consultation. My consultation was actually on April 29th, and April 2nd I actually went soda free. Caffeine was a different story. I tried to stop caffeine altogether, but I definitely cut severely back on it. So I wasn't drinking coffee like every day or every other day. It was literally like once every couple weeks, it definitely was not as much as I was drinking, which was actually kind of nice because when I wasn't drinking on a regular basis, it actually did its job. So when I did have it, it actually woke me up in the morning. So it was amazing. So I had already given that up, and I had actually seen a dietitian in March because I knew that one of the requirements that they had once you got back from, if you're a destination patient, which I was, so when you get back from having your surgery, they want you to follow up with your primary care provider as well as your local dietitian within 30 days of having your surgery. So I went ahead and I saw a dietitian ahead of time. And in March, I had weighed 402 pounds when I did my consultation with her. And when I went in for my consultation with Christiana in April, and I had been off of soda and mostly been off of caffeine for a few weeks at that point, because like I went soda free on the 2nd. By the time I got to that consultation, I was already down to 388. Like, apparently when you drink that many sugary beverages in a day, it kind of stays in you. And yeah, so just by giving up sugary beverages like that alone, like 20 pounds gone, and after the consultation, I stuck with not having any soda and very rarely having coffee in the morning. And by the time I got to surgery time, when they did my weight on surgery day, I was at 335. So I dropped quite a bit by just giving up those things. And my stomach was already kind of starting to shrink, and I was kind of trying to make healthier choices as far as foods and everything. Did I always have healthy foods the entire time between consultation surgery date? Hell no. I'm a human being and I still love food. So I did start to find that my stomach was kind of starting to shrink a bit because I wasn't able to plow away as much food as I usually could, which was definitely a good thing. And I think the fact that it was also kind of portion controlled, like not necessarily on purpose or anything, it was just literally, that's just what my stomach and that's how my body was operating. That helped out tremendously. And so by the time I got to surgery day, I was at 335. And I will say that for around a month or so, a month or two prior to surgery, I was staying like pretty steady around 345, 350, somewhere around there. Like for a few months, like that was just my weight. Like it was like I plateaued. It's like I stalled right there. So I mean, because a lot of people just like, well, if you lost that much weight, then why go through with the surgery? Clearly, if you keep doing what you were doing, you probably could have kept losing. But I really still felt like having the surgery was the best. And like I said, like for a few months, like I was staying at 345, 350. Like I just wasn't losing or really gaining anything else. I was just staying right there. And the way that I got down to 335 so close to surgery is because most people have to do a pre-op diet. And for the pre-op diet, that is basically... it's basically the slim fast diet. You're having shake for breakfast, shake for lunch. You get a snack in between the breakfast and the lunch shakes, and the snack is literally just like a protein bar. And then you have like a powdered soup, that you mix with hot water for dinner. And then you have a final shake at night. That was it. So you do, and most people, for my program, it was 2 weeks before my surgery, and it was not fun. It was not fun at all. Oh my gosh, the preparation for this surgery. But when you're pretty much just drinking your meals, yeah, you're gonna lose some weight. Because my BMI is a little bit higher. I was able to add some additional proteins and whatnot for the first, I think it was 10 days, and then 3 days prior to surgery, it was just the shakes, the soup, and that's it. It was just the shakes and the soup, and I think you could still have your protein bar, and like that was it. Like none of the additional proteins that you were able to add to your diet. 3 days prior to 3 days prior to surgery. So it was definitely that was definitely rough. And then once again, every program is different from my program. Post-op, the first 3 days post-op, you're on clear liquids only. So we're talking like sugar-free Jello. You can have sugar-free popsicles. When I finally woke up from the anesthesia, this was my first ever major surgery. So when I finally was awake enough after anesthesia, like all I could really have for the first like 12 hours was just ice chips. And then after that, water and Gatorade. And there actually are Gatorade and Premier Protein drinks, and there's also a drink called Protein 2.0 out there. I hope I don't get in trouble for mentioning these things. They are all essentially clear liquids. They're basically like a Gatorade, but they actually have protein in them, because one of the huge things that they really want you to focus on post-op is getting your protein intake, like protein, protein, protein. My program does it based off of your height. I'm 5'10", so they want me to aim to get 90 grams of protein a day. Most people rock the Premier Protein drinks. The Fairlife protein drinks are also really good. Each one of those, I think, has like 30 grams of protein per shake. So, I mean, the first 3 days you're on clear liquids. I think the Protein 2.0s, I don't think they have like as much protein as like the shakes do, but they have quite a bit, so that you're still sipping like your clear liquids and everything. And then for 2 weeks after that, you are on full liquids. So 2 weeks post-op, full, you're basically just drinking your meals. The first 3 days it's only clear liquids, and for the remainder of the 2 weeks after that it's full liquids, and you can start putting the shakes in there. So basically my goal was to have 3 of the Premier Protein shakes a day. Little TMI warning right here, just TMI, TMI, TMI. Post-surgery constipation is a thing. Anyone who has had surgery knows that that is no joke. So due to the issues that I was having with that, they basically knocked me down to like just do 2 shakes a day and just really focus on your water and focus on staying hydrated. So everybody is kind of different and things like that. I am a member of 4 bariatric support groups on Facebook, and I swear the number one question in every single one of them is, how soon after surgery did you poop? That is seriously a question that is just across the board for everybody. So brace yourself for that, because I mean, when you're drinking your meals for a month and you're pretty much only focused on protein, you're not getting a lot of fiber in your diet, it can be pretty nightmarish after you have surgery. So that is something to keep in mind. I had mentioned that you have to, like, for my program I had to have an endoscopy, and like I said, every single one of these pre-op exams that they want you to have, you are responsible for. So I mean, even though your bariatric program is the one that's requesting it, you still have to pay for it. So that was honestly the one thing that I thought would kind of hold up me being able to have this surgery. Fortunately, I get an HSA card, FSA card, whatever you call them. It's basically a debit card that you get through your health insurance that has a certain amount loaded on it per year. And I was able to use that to help pay for my endoscopy, and because I hadn't hit my deductible yet, and my mom was gracious enough to like help me pay for the remainder. So I am very fortunate in that I have a mom that, you know, helps me out when I need it, and I also had the HSA card, and I am very, very thankful for that. So I had the endoscopy done, I think in June. I think it was in late June, and then July is when I have my sleep study done. And getting my sleep study done ended up being a pain in the patoots for me, and that's just for me personally because I had to do it 3 times. Like they do the at-home sleep study, so they just kind of give you a kit. The first time they didn't give me all the supplies I needed for the kit, like you need to have a nasal cannula so that they can kind of, like monitor your breathing and whatnot. The nasal cannula wasn't in there. And then the second time I did it, you have like little finger oximeter, and that was not registering at all. So that wasn't done. So third time was a charm. That ended up being the one that worked. So I was finally able to do that, and they were just like, yeah, mild, moderate sleep apnea. So had to start on a CPAP machine, and having to get the CPAP machine was a relatively smooth transition. Could have been a little bit smoother, but still not the smoothest. And then you had to use the CPAP machine for 30 days. So once you use the CPAP for 30 days, you met the compliance and you did everything that you were supposed to do, then you were free to finally get scheduled for surgery. So I used the CPAP, I stayed compliant, I did everything I was supposed to do, and so they finally called me and I got my surgery scheduled for November 10th. And I think I got it scheduled sometime in October. So I pretty much had a month to get everything figured out. I'm single. I live in my apartment. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment by myself. I have 2 bratty cats that need to be fed and taken care of. So me scrambling around trying to figure out care for them, and like making sure the apartment was taken care of, and somebody to like pick up all my mail and everything. And a really good friend of mine's oldest daughter actually did that for me. So shout out to Corey. Thank you, Corey. And so working to get all of that taken care of. And I live in Eastern Washington. My best friend that I mentioned earlier, Miranda, was my companion, and so she went with me. She lives in Western Washington. So I actually drove over to Western Washington to where she is so that she and I could fly out together from Seattle. So that was nice to be able to travel with her. And then like after my surgery, we got to fly back together, and I actually got to stay with her for a little bit so that she could help keep me sane while I was still only drinking my meals. I was literally drinking meals for a month, and I was not happy. So with my program, post-op, 2 weeks post-op, full liquids, then after full liquids, 2 weeks pureed foods. And after that 2 weeks, then it's 4 weeks of soft foods. And then after that 4 weeks is done, you're finally able to start incorporating just everything back into your diet. Of course, you're not going to be able to eat as much as you used to, but it's also just kind of seeing how your body tolerates different foods and how your body does with everything. My program basically said stay away from bread and stay away from caffeine for 6 months post-op. So that is a big adjustment, because bread is delicious. So it's very hard to say goodbye to it, because if I go to Cheesecake Factory and they've set that bread basket down, I go to town on that brown bread. I don't know about anybody else, but that is like Cheesecake Factory has like a 5,000 page menu, and all I really want is the free bread. I'm just kidding. Like everything on their menu is delicious. So there are a couple things that you have to give up for longer than others. And I mean, for a lot of people that have this surgery, their palate completely changes. So there are some foods that they used to love that now they hate, and vice versa. There are some foods that they used to not touch with a 10-foot pole, and now they love them. So it's kind of interesting to be in these groups and kind of see how people's palates have changed and see like what they like and what they don't like. So everything leading up was pretty stressful and whatnot. Travel was pretty good. Having to fly clear across the country, and then of course we're in a completely different time zone. So I mean, we're getting up at it's 11 o'clock in the morning in Delaware, but on the West Coast it was only 8 o'clock. So it was only 8 o'clock. So it was definitely interesting. And we had to fly in On the 5th of November, my surgery was until the 10th, but on the 6th of November, they wanted me to get COVID swabbed. So we got there pretty early. We rented a car for the first 4 days, and we just kind of treated the first few days as like pretty much like a vacation because we had all this time leading up to the surgery. May as well have some fun and enjoy ourselves while we were there. So the Monday before my surgery, we actually, we started off in Wilmington where we were staying and where I was having my surgery. Then we drove over to Philly, which is only 30 minutes away, and then we drove over to New Jersey because we could. If we had left earlier, we would have made time to drive to New York, because why not? Why not? Um, so we did. We definitely enjoyed those first few days. And being in Philadelphia, we had the full Rocky Balboa experience. We did not run up those stairs, but we certainly brisk walked up them steps, and we made it. We did it. Got some photos of like Rocky's statue, and just had a blast doing things like that. So enjoy things while you can, because sure enough, post-op, I was not in a severe amount of pain. Like, you definitely feel like you had surgery, that is for sure. Forget laying on your stomach or on your side, because where they perform the surgery and whatnot. Um, but just some of the pain that I was still in, so they went ahead and gave me some muscle relaxers. They gave me some gabapentin. They gave me some. There was another muscle relaxer that they gave me. Starts with a C. I can't remember the name of it right now, but they gave me that, and I mean, they just basically knocked me out. And I mean, you're supposed to be trying to move around and kind of work towards being able to move more, and I was just sleeping. I was pretty much just sleeping those first few days post-op. So it was definitely interesting. Most people are told to are pretty much given liquid. A lot of people are given liquid medication because, like, you don't want to be swallowing too much because you don't want to stretch out or overdo it on your stomach. I was fortunate enough, I was able to be swallowing pills day one. So, I was swallowing Tylenol. They do give you some addition. My program, at least, gave me some additional medications for me to take for the first few months after surgery. So I do have to take omeprazole, which is basically a heartburn medication, as well as another medication called Ursidol, and that is for your gallbladder. That's just making sure that your gallbladder stays good, that you don't have to end up having that removed, and prevents gallstones, fun stuff like that, because you're at such an increased risk of blood clots. You're increased risk for a lot of different things post-op, so they just want to make sure that you're as good and you're as safe as possible. For 30 days I had to do Lovenox shots. I've still got a few days left of them, so my abdomen is very black and blue right now from the blood thinner. And there are a couple of my regular medications that I had to stop. Other than that was pretty much what there was to it. And then they want you to come back around a week later, back to Christiana Care for a follow-up post-op appointment. Make sure you're good to travel, make sure you're doing good, make sure you'll be okay. And another thing that's really nice with the program is actually one of the nurses contacts you every week for a month. So up until your 4 weeks post-op, you've got somebody contacting you, checking in with you, seeing how you're doing with progress, seeing how you're doing with everything. Gives you amazing suggestions as far as food. So when you swap over to pureed, when you swap over to soft foods, they give you 150 different suggestions on what you can eat, give you some great ideas so that you can switch things up so that you don't get too bored. Unfortunately, I still got bored with the puree stage. One thing that I did notice in pretty much all four of the groups was usually between weeks 2 and 4, somewhere in there, somewhere in that 2 to 4 week period, everybody hits a wall. Everybody hits a wall where they get buyer's remorse, and they're just like, what did I put myself through? What was I thinking getting this surgery? What have I done? And I hit that wall at about 3 weeks. And I hit that wall at 3 weeks. I was getting bored with pureed foods. I was just like, oh my god, I really just want meat, just some kind of meat. and some like I was really craving fries for whatever reason, and I definitely hit that wall. I became an emotional wreck for like 3 days straight. And one thing that not everybody really tells you is that once when you have this surgery, your body is put through a lot of changes. I mean, they're basically either slicing out 80% of your stomach, or they're keeping your stomach intact but leaving you just a little pouch, which is what I have, and kind of rerouting things. So your body is going through so many different changes. And so it gets your hormones to spike and act crazy. And women, we're already crazy. It comes free with our vaginas. So basically just about every woman like just goes through this. And I mean, you really hit it like in that first 2 to 4 weeks, but I mean, it's something that could very well come back and haunt you later on. I mean, like once you're able to start introducing foods, but then, you only have, 2 or 3 bites, 3 or 4 bites, and you're done. And you're just like, oh, but I kind of want to eat more. A part of you starts to miss essentially stuff in your face. And you just are basically just completely reevaluating your relationship with food. And it is a big deal. It is a big lifestyle change. It is a lot that you have to take in. Like, this is definitely not what I would call an easy way out, for sure. So me hitting that wall, and I mean, I got a chance to talk to the nurse like literally like the day after I hit it, and told her what was going on. And she was just like, you're gonna be fine. She was like, literally in a few days you can start soft foods. And one thing that's nice with soft foods is that you can technically like make a meal, because that I think that's also something that I was really missing, was that I haven't been able to have a meal, because I mean, when you're on pureed foods, like, you're just cottage cheese, refried beans. You can have a scrambled egg as long as you get it like chopped up super, super fine. Um, you can do chicken salads as long as it's like mashed up really super fine, but it still feels like you're eating just a bunch of like snacks. And you do get bored with them after a while, and you just want something, anything else. So I was told soft foods like meatballs, meatloaf, things like that are okay. Um, if you have chicken or turkey or anything like that, it has to be like pretty much like freshly made while it's still super soft and whatnot. Because I mean, if you reheat it, it can tend to be, unfortunately, like a little bit tough, and it might be a little bit too tough for your stomach to handle. So I can basically have meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and some steamed vegetables. Like, that is a full meal, like on a small little plate. It'll be a little plate, but I can still like just have like this whole meal like on my plate. And I think that that'll be nice, like just to have different foods to bite into, or like, just get, a bite of like meatloaf and mashed potato, or mashed potato and vegetable, or, something like that. So being able to actually mix and match my palate with one sitting is something that I'm really looking forward to. And, soft foods for 4 weeks, and then you're onto your regular diet. And another thing is, a lot of people really freak out with that scale, and monitoring your weight and keeping an eye on your weight, and always wanting to know like how much you weigh. So many people out there like weigh themselves like every single day. I am somebody who knows that I would drive myself crazy, and I would go completely psychotic with constantly weighing myself. So I don't even keep a scale in the house. I work in the medical field. When I go back to work, I will, be able to weigh myself weekly and try and keep it at that, because again, with your body going through so much, you're not really losing a lot of weight like the first like month or so. Um, like I had said, I was 335 when they weighed me day of surgery, and now I'm just shy. This is getting recorded on December 7th. I just had to check the date. This is being recorded on December 7th of 2021, and as of tomorrow, I will be 28 days, 4 weeks post-op, and I've only lost 10 pounds. I'm only down to 325. And a lot of people that I have talked to said that they can already see a difference. They're just like, I can already see that your face is thinner. My best friend said that she saw it a lot in this area, like the shoulder area and like the upper arm area. And even when I look, I can see that there's like a lot of like kind of stretch marks starting to happen, and like it's starting to get a little bit more loose, and like I'm starting to lose a lot of weight like in the arm area. um I definitely know that like my belly is a lot smaller than it used to be, which has been kind of crazy. So it'll be very interesting to see where it goes from here. But yeah, I don't and won't keep a scale in the house. I'll just drive myself too crazy, keep an eye on weight all the time. Um, One of the main reasons why I got this surgery done is because I have a chronic skin disease called hidradenitis suppurativa. Try saying that 5 times fast. And basically, what it is you get, the way that my dermatologist always refers to them as lesions. Most people probably refer to them as abscesses or boils from the way that they look. You basically get those painful things on your body, especially in a lot of those spots where you build up a lot of sweat and bacteria. So for women, under the breasts, in the in those side rolls and whatnot. A lot of people get them in the groin area and the buttocks area, which is no fun. So it is definitely a really painful, really crappy, really horrible skin disease to have. And it is also very misunderstood. Um, when you have hydradentitis, it's not anything that you do wrong. It doesn't mean that you don't shower, because I do shower on a very regular basis. It doesn't mean that you're not showering. It doesn't mean that you're non hygienic. It is nothing that you did wrong. It is not anything that is your fault, and you feel like it is, and you feel gross all the time. And it is also like so many people think with like, especially type 1 diabetes, that it's a fat person's disease, and it's not. A lot of skinny people have hydradentitis, just like mostly people that are on the skinnier side have like type 1 diabetes. um it is, however, if you are larger sized, if you are more plus sized, one thing that is said to help with hydradentitis is losing weight. And my dermatologist is just like, I really think that this is going to be your cure. I think this is what's going to help you with your HS the most. So she was one of my biggest cheerleaders. I am so fortunate to have a team of amazing providers that do so much for me and have all really just cheered me on with this whole entire journey and will continue to cheer me on. They're just amazing women. All of them are women. I love the fact that all of my providers are women. My dermatologist, my gynecologist, my primary care provider, my counselor. Yes, I do see a counselor and go to therapy on a regular basis. My dietitian, my surgeon who actually performed the gastric bypass surgery. And another thing with Karam, like with all of the facilities that I chose, another one of the reasons why I chose Wilmington was because Dr. Halbert was literally the only woman on the list. So I was all about that life. So I just love the fact that every single provider that I see is a woman, and they are all amazing. And I think aside from Dr. Halbert, my surgeon, funnily enough, they're all blonde. They are all blonde-haired, blue-eyed white chicks, and I absolutely love it. Like, they have been amazing in helping me out on this journey and just being so supportive. And I was really happy and shocked and just humbled to find this team of amazing women who take care of me. And I see every single one of them in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is very conservative, red state, northern Idaho. And all of these women, treat me with so much admiration and respect, and listen to any concerns that I have to say, and it's just really refreshing, because I can guarantee you that a lot of the other regular citizens in this area do not treat me the way that these amazing physicians do. And I just can't be any more thankful and appreciative of them. So basically, shout out to all of my providers. So Marissa, my counselor, has been amazing. Sarah Kent, my physician's assistant, has been phenomenal. And when she's not available, I see Dr. Leah Weatherly. Dr. Hillary Hill is my dermatologist. Dr. Carissa Richardson is my gynecologist. And Libby Hugo is my dietitian. So thank you, ladies, so much for just being amazing, amazing women. Libby's in Post Falls. She's not in Coeur d'Alene, but just being just these rays of sunshine and beacons of hope in Northern Idaho. Just thank you so much for being awesome. And as far as everything else goes, like this first month, it has been pretty mellow, pretty chill. I am so sorry that this video is so long. I know that I'm hitting 40 minutes, but I really just wanted to just go over everything that was leading up to surgery, as well as everything that's been happening for a month post-surgery. If you guys have any questions about this journey, please feel free to comment below. You can find me at nerdymysticism on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you I'll put my email address on there. I am more than happy to talk to anybody about any questions they have about going through this journey. And if you stay tuned and watch this whole entire thing, thank you so much for sticking with me and sticking with it. I'm pretty sure at one point or another, my cats will get very sick and tired of me making these videos, and they will start making appearances and harassing me on camera. My first son was kind of walking between my legs a little bit earlier, just like, Mom, why are you paying attention to the camera and the phone and not paying attention to me? Because he is a mama's boy and he loves me, and I'm okay with that. But I guarantee you, if you follow Twitter and Instagram, you will see pictures of them, and will most likely have to deal with a lot of me talking about them. And if I make any friends out of this whole entire situation, just know that there will be a lot of cat stories. Please don't judge me, because I'm almost 40 and I have 2 cats and I am single and childless. Please do not judge me, because I judge myself enough. Thanks again, you guys, for tuning into this. Like I said, I will try and do this either bi-weekly or monthly and give you guys updates on how everything is going, how things are going with my diet, how things are going with weight loss progress, how things are going as far as shopping and fitting into new clothes, because that's one thing that you kind of get to focus on a little bit is in as a Nancy SV's non-scale victories. And one of my big non-scale victories is being able to just go to any flippin' store on the planet and being able to shop. When you're plus size, it's very hard to go shopping, and a lot of the time when you are plus size, any plus size stores that are available to us are astronomically expensive. Lane Bryant and Torrid are very, very expensive. It's very hard to find kind of bargain prices on clothing. And even Old Navy has skyrocketed in price as far as everything. And for a while, I mean, like with Old Navy, all of their women's plus stuff was only available online. And I just want to give Old Navy a huge shout out, because now all of their sizes are available in store, because everybody knows that when it comes to women's bodies, not everybody is the same. Every body is beautiful though. But Lord knows it helps out tremendously when you can actually try on clothes, like actually go shopping and get into a fitting room and make sure stuff fits. So shout out to Old Navy for making it so that they have all of those sizes readily available right there when you walk in. It really makes a shopping experience that much better. But yeah, I'm excited to be able to go to Ross and go thrift store shopping, because Lord knows you drop weight so quick that you're constantly having to buy new clothes. So I will be thrifting a lot until my weight finally decides where it wants to settle, and that'll be for about a year. But once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I am always open, always available, always willing to chit chat with people. I am pretty much an open book. I may be an ambivert, which is a good solid mix of introvert and extrovert, but when it comes to life and things like that, you can literally ask me any question and I will give you an honest answer. So thank you again for tuning in, guys, and I will see you guys in a week or two or a month. Have a good one.